evolutionism, then diffusionism, then historical particularism. First is evolutionism was started from Herodotus in the year 484 to 425 before Christ. He was a historian mainly remembered for his history. First start ହେଇଥିଲା ହେରୋଡଟସଙ୍କ ଠାରୁ evolutionism start ହେଇଥିଲା. Herodotus was the father of social anthropology. So social evolution started from Herodotus. Then Erickson in 2008 has rightly stated that it is only when travel accounts data. Then Erickson gave his view about the anthropological subjects or anthropological theories. First, we will discuss about the evolutionary theories of anthropology. Evolutionary theory is the important in anthropological theories. First, we study the early evolutionists. Who are the early evolutionists? We discuss first is Adam Ferguson, then John Miller, and Adam Smith in 1700 reflected that all societies pass through four stages. These four authors give his view that societies pass through four stages. এই ଚାରି ଜଣ ଅଥର କହିଛନ୍ତି society ଚାରିଟା stage ଦେଇକି pass କରୁଛି. That is, first is hunting and gathering, then next is pastoralism and nomadism, then third is agricultural, then finally is commerce. Hunting and gathering. When the early society, people collect the food, then they gathered the food and also hunted the animals. So society is passed from first stage is hunting and gathering. Then the second stage is pastoralism and nomadism. Pastoralism means domestication of animals, means cow, buffalo, etc. Pastoral economy is present in the second stage. Then third stage is agriculture. Agriculture krushi eta hala third stage. Then fourth stage is commerce. Commerce means technological development or irrigation facilities or technically developed or industrialization, that is placed in fourth stage. এই ଚାରିଟା stage ଦେଇକି ଆମର society pass କରୁଛି. Then the theories of social evolution on the experiences of the Union of Scotland with England in 1707. ଆମେ stage ପଢିବା ମାନେ evolution means change. How society changed from early stage to towards modern stage. Evolution means ମାନେ social evolution early stage ରେ social evolution କ'ଣ ଥିଲା, ମାନେ change ହେଇ ଆଜି କୋଉ stage ରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିଛି. Then in 1748 Montesquieu published Des Esprit des Lois. His book The Spirit of Laws, a comparative cross-cultural study of legislative systems. Montesquieu looked at legal system as an aspect of the wider social system. In the early stage, the politics, economy, kinship, religion, etc. are the facts are accounted in the society or counted in the society. Then the early works of Beethoven, Henry Maine, McLennan, these are the evolutionists, social evolutionists. The early stage were viewed by Bachofen, Maine, and McLennan. These early works have already been discussed in the Unit 2. Then another thing is Bachofen's view about the evolution. These are the evolutionists. We study the evolutionism, so we study about the evolutionist, how evolutionists give their ideas about the evolution and social evolution. ଆମର evolutionist ମାନେ କଣ ସବୁ ଆଇଡିଆ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି, କୋଉ ଇୟରରେ କଣ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, ଆମେ ସେଇଟା ପଢିବା. Then Das Motor Cheat is the main book of Beethoven, which is written upon mother right in 1861. Then Maine write his work on ancient law. What are the ancient law? Means in tribal society, how the rules and regulations are function, how the norms are function, like village headman, village ruler were the important of the ancient society or tribal society. Then McLennan based his work on marriage. McLennan writes his book on marriage. Marriage is primitive marriage. His book is written on primitive marriage in 1865. He writes in his book that mother right means mother is the authority of the family. Then, then we study about the Charles Darwin's theory. Charles Darwin's theory is based on origin of species, which is based on evolution. Then in 1890, Sir James Frazer published his book on evolution, that Golden Bough, which was published on magic and religion. His book was published on magic and religion. Then next, L.H. Morgan, regarded as the father of American anthropology. Point down, L.H. Morgan, regarded as the father of American anthropology. He worked his field work among the Iroquois. His field work was based on Iroquois, American Iroquois. ତାଙ୍କର L.H. ମର୍ଗାନଙ୍କର ଫିଲ୍ଡ ୱାର୍କଟା ଇରୋକ୍ୱିସ୍ଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଥିଲା. ଯାହା କିଛି ସେମାନେ ଫିଲ୍ଡ ୱାର୍କ କରିଛନ୍ତି ସେଇ ଡାଟା ଗୁଡାକ ସେମାନେ ଇଭଲ୍ୟୁସନ ଉପରେ ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି. Then he was adopted by one of the Iroquois as clans. Then Morgan developed a kinship system. Morgan writes a kinship system on the Iroquois people. There are two types of kinship. You know kinship in the first class. I have already said kinship means when after marriage family exists from two sides, from male side and female side, husband side and wife side. Then husband's relationship or relative members and wife's relative members are related to each other. That is, they were called kinship, or that is called kinship system. That kinship system is divided into two parts, that is classificatory classificatory system and descriptive system. In the classificatory system, several peoples are classified under one term. Suppose uncle, aunt. Uncle means father's father is uncle and also mother's father is uncle. But in descriptive system, only one people is designated for one term. That is mother and father. Classificatory system रे गोटे टर्म ପାଇଁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ମେମ୍ବର ଡେଜିଗ୍ନେଟ୍ ହୁଅନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଡେସ୍କ୍ରିପ୍ଟିଭ ସିଷ୍ଟମରେ ଓନ୍ଲି ଫାଦର ମଦରଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେଇ ଗୋଟିଏ ଟର୍ମ ହିଁ ୟୁଜ୍ କରାଯାଏ. Then, in his work Ancient Society in 1877, Montesquieu said the society passed three stages. That is, first is savagery system, next is barbarism, then third is civilization. Morgan is also said society passed through three stages, like Tyler. E.B. Tyler also said three stages of evolution. Then, then Friedrich Engels, who had used some of Morgan's theories in his famous work, The Origin of the Family. Then Morgan's another study is based on family, private property, and the state. The origin of the family, private property, and the state. Then, in the late 19th century, another social thinker and the culturologist who was designated as the father of modern culture, he is Sir Edward Burnett Tyler, shortly called E.B. Tyler. E.B. Tyler was the first British professor of anthropology. His work was based on primitive culture in the year 1871. He defined culture, which till date is regarded as the most complete definition of culture. He gave his view on the total definition of culture. That is, this is the important definition. Culture or civilization is the complex whole. Culture or civilization is the complex system or complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, moral, law, custom, any other capabilities and habits. Suppose knowledge of ours and belief, knowledge means jnana, vishwasa, art, moral means values, our value and custom, tradition, ଯାହା କିଛି ଆମର ପ୍ରଥା ସେଗୁଡ଼ା ସବୁ man ଦ୍ୱାରା ହିଁ transfer, ମନୁଷ୍ୟ ଦ୍ୱାରା ହିଁ transfer ହୁଏ. That is acquired by man as a member of society. So Tyler, designated as the unilinear and universal evolutionist. Tyler first କହିଥିଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଲାଇନ୍ ରେ evolution ହେଉଛି. But next time Tyler said evolution is occurred in total place or total universe, in the total world. So he is designated the evolutionist, social evolutionist in the unilinear evolution and also in universal evolution. And he also said that culture evolved from simple to complex. Culture also evolved means changed from simple to complex. Simple stage means first is the savagery stage, then it is modified through barbarism stage, that is the middle stage, and also evolved for third stage, that is called civilization stage. Civilization is used for art of writing and highly modification of writing, then lifestyle of people. So it is the complex system. Then criticism, other thinkers are criticize Tyler for which fact, କୋଉ fact ପାଇଁ ଟାଇଲରଙ୍କୁ criticize କଲେ ଆମେ ସେଇଟା ଦେଖିବା. Then we followed that the armchair anthropologist, କେତେ ଜଣ armchair anthropologist were doing their field work. They are Sir James Fraser. Then next is Franz Boas, Margaret Mead. Then Erikson. First, Fraser said Golden Bough is set as an example by later anthropologist. He used the secondary data. Fraser had never conducted fieldwork nor had any direct interaction with the people under study. केते जण आर्म चेयर एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट फ्रेजर को टाइलर को सब क्रिटिसाइज कले तांकर इवोल्यूशनरी व्यू टा ठीक नुहे द इवोल्यूशनरी व्यू इज क्रिटिसाइज्ड बाय देम फॉर व्हिच फैक्ट दिस फैक्ट इज दे आर नॉट कॉन्टैक्टेड विथ डायरेक्टली माने जेतेबेले हम फील्ड वर्क करूचे सेटा पर्सन को सहित डायरेक्ट कांटेक्ट करूने तेनु से फील्ड वर्क टा ठीक नुहे ओनली वी गिव द आइडियाज फ्रॉम द बुक्स और रिव्यूज और मटेरियल्स जोटा मटेरियल बुक बा न्यूज़पेपर रु पाउचे सेटा हला कोन इनडायरेक्ट थिंग्स और इनडायरेक्ट डाटाज तेनु जेम्स फ्रेजर और टाइलर केवल इनडायरेक्ट व्यू ऊपर बेस करछन्ती then French boys Margaret Mead and other American school disapproved of the theory of universal evolution. Taylor को view को French boys Margaret Mead criticize कले because psychic unit of mankind which is failed to the account of cultural variation. Psychic unit of mankind means evolution in a single way that is criticized on the cultural variations जोठी की cultural variation देखा जाउछ तेनु single way रे evolution होनी next neo evolutionism then in the early 20th century Leslie White Julian Stewart attempt to modify the classical evolutionary theory and change in other way that according to Leslie White energy was the key component which human beings learn to harness in the course of cultural evolution. Leslie White used energy for the cultural evolution. We must apply the energy for the society for cultural evolution. Then Sahalins gave his theory on evolution that overall process and the regional and local adaptations of specific societies. Specific society or regional disparities एगुड़ा को सबू साहलिन कंसीडर कले न्यू इवोल्यूशन रे then Julian Stewart modified the concept of culture to divide culture into two parts a culture comprising of the techno-economic system that directly interact with the environment and a peripheral culture that grows by historical and specific conditions of existence means culture comprising of the techno-economic system means culture is advanced due to the techno-economic system technically advanced and also economically advanced that directly interact with the environment जोटा कि environment सहित directly related होइथाय and peripheral culture that grows by historical and specific conditions. Peripheral culture is designated by historical and specific conditions by the history and specific conditions are existed in the culture. Then the specific relationships of core and environment are conditioned by the nature of the environment. The specific relationship is existed in the environment. A particular relationship हमारा culture रे देखा जाए जोटा कि environment हमारा परिपार्श्व सहित related अटे and they establish The direction of evolution of cultures. Then diffusionism. Another theory of evolution. Evolution is already finished. Then we start now diffusionism. Diffusionism is the second theory. Um, Students, you listen. Diffusionism is the second theory. Diffusionist theory is comes from the growth of culture in terms of cultural similarities or mutual contact or cultural cradle or culture area, then culture cries, etc. Culture similarities means ଆମର ଯାହା କିଛି similarities ଥାଏ ଦିଟା culture ଭିତରେ ସେଇଟାକୁ କୁହାଯାଏ diffusionist. One culture is spread from old old place to another new place, that is called cultural diffusion, and the spread of, otherwise it is known as the spread of culture. And also it is based on mutual contact, cultural cradle, culture area. Then kultur kreis means culture circle, means culture is existed in like a circle. So diffusionists are give their view according to the British school of thought, according to the German school of thought, then American school of thought. First is the British school of thought or British diffusionist school. In the British diffusionist school, first author is Grafton Elliot Smith, then second is W.H.R. River, then William James Perry. These are the diffusionists. Grafton Elliot Smith, the pioneer of British school, advocated that culture first evolved in Egypt. Grafton Elliot Smith कौन कहते culture first evolved, culture created ହେଇଥିଲା or evolved in Egypt, first Egypt ରୁ ହିଁ create ହେଇଥିଲା and had spread to the far corners of the world, then it is spread all over the world. ତାପରେ ଏଟା ଚାରିଆଡେ spread କରିଗଲା from about 4000 BC. Then Perry believed that cultural development had begun about 6000 years ago. Then Smith, 1928, stated that the earth was inhabited by natural men who were nomads. Smith said in 1928 the earth was inhabited by natural man. First natural man ही create ହେଇଥିଲା, then who were nomads, जो माने कि nomads थिले. Nomads means they lived in one place and some days after some days they lived in, sorry, they left that place, then go to another place. They are the nomads, means transferable life. They maintain the transferable life. Then lack domestication of animals. That in that time, the domestication of animals, agriculture, houses, clothing, religion, social organization, all are lacked. Say time re eta nathila. Then gradually the hereditary chiefs and formal laws or ceremonies of marriage or burials are arrived. In approximately 4000 before Christ, the inhabitants of Nile Valley appreciated the fortunate chance provided them by a natural crop or barley and adopted a settled mode of life. Then ନାଇଲ ଭ୍ୟାଲିରେ ସେମାନେ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ରପ୍ ପାଇଲେ, ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟା କି ସେଇ ବାର୍ଲିରେ ସେଇଟା ସେମାନେ ଏଗ୍ରିକଲଚର ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କଲେ. ଦେନ୍ ଦ ସେଟେଲ୍ ୱେ ଅଫ୍ ଲାଇଫ୍ ୱାଜ କ୍ରିଏଟେଡ୍. Then the evolution of the Egyptians, according to Smith, invented pottery, basketry, building houses, started domestication of animals. After that time, they started pottery, ମାନେ ମାଟି ପାତ୍ର ନିର୍ମାଣ, ବାସ୍କେଟ ନିର୍ମାଣ କଲେ, building houses, then started domestication of animals. Animal ବି ରଖିଲେ, build towns like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. In history, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro civilization is counted as the township. Then Smith correlated the similarities between Egyptian complex of large stone monuments related to the sun worship. The Egyptians are considered the monuments large ବଡ଼ ପଥର ଗୁଡ଼ାକୁ ସେମାନେ sun ବୋଲି ପୂଜା କରୁଥିଲେ, like the sun worship, and that of megaliths of England such as Stonehenge, and that is called megaliths. Then W.J. Perry said that said in his book The Children of the Sun in 1923 and The Gods and the Men in 1927, Egypt as the center of civilization. He was also said that Egypt was the center of civilization. ମାନେ ସଭ୍ୟତାଟା କେବଳ ଇଜିପ୍ଟରୁ ହିଁ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହୋଇଛି, କଲଚର ବା ସିଭିଲାଇଜେସନ କେବଳ ଇଜିପ୍ଟରୁ ହିଁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇଛି. Then W.H.R. River said the history of the Melanesian society, which was published in 1914, leaned heavily on the theory of degeneration. He sought the explanation of contrast among Melanesian and Polynesian cultures. W.H.R. River said about the Melanesian people and Polynesian peoples. He also explained the role of migration, assimilation, and acculturation. Migration means transformation, means transferable life. Then assimilation means integration. Two cultures are integrated with each other and constitute a single culture. Then acculturation means culture change. When one culture is changed towards the influence of other culture, that is called acculturation. Then W.H.R. River give his opinion about the imitation and migration. Then criticism, British school of diffusionists, ମାନେ କ୍ରିଟିସିଜିମ୍ ପାଇଛନ୍ତି କାହାଠୁ, ଅଦର ଅଥର ମାନେ ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ କ୍ରିଟିସାଇଜ କରିଛନ୍ତି. କେଉଁ ମୋଡରେ ଆମେ ସେଟା ଦେଖିବା. Egypt as the only epicenter of all invention was the greater flaw that led other anthropologists to denounce this school as extreme diffusionist. Only Egypt as the center, no, Egypt is the epicenter of all invention. Anything invented from the Egypt, they are criticized that all things are not invented from only Egypt. In other places also the cultural changes are arised. Then only simple form of diffusion, that is diffusion of culture traits, was taken into account while diffusion of culture complex was not emphasized. ମାନେ ଡିଫ୍ୟୁଜନିଷ୍ଟ ମାନେ କେବଳ ସିମ୍ପଲ ଟ୍ରେଟ୍ କହିଛନ୍ତି, କେବଳ ଇଜିପ୍ଟରୁ ହିଁ କଲଚର ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇଛି, ବଟ୍ କଲଚର କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ means different types of culture ବିଷୟରେ କିଛି କହିନାହାନ୍ତି. So they are criticized for these views. Then German diffusionist school, German school of diffusion. German school of diffusion is greatly influenced by the point culture crisis or culture circle. Culture crisis school attributed the development of cultures not to one particular place but to several places at several different times. Kultur Kreis school it said that culture is not evolved from a single place, but culture is evolved from different places in different times. So, culture traits and culture complexes were believed to have originated independently in several parts of the world. Culture ଯଦି several places ରେ ମାନେ different ଜାଗାରେ culture ଟା evolve ହେଲା ମାନେ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଲା ତାହେଲେ ସବୁ ଜାଗାର culture ଟା different. So it arise the culture complex. Different culture ଯେତେବେଳେ ମିଶିଯିବ ସେଟା culture complex ହିଁ ହବ. ଯଦି simple ଗୋଟିଏ culture ହବ ତାହେଲେ ସେଟା culture trait ହବ. Then Friedrich Ratzel in 1844, Leo Frobenius 1873, Grabner 1877, Smith in 1868 gives their views about the German diffusion. At the same, they viewed their idea that the cultural evolution was not unilinear, thereby denouncing Taylor's psychic unit of mankind, and reflected that technological development, not a single line. Culture is not developed in a single line, but it is reflected by the complexity of various cultures. Then Ratchell, using the comparative method for know about the similarities of bow and arrow in his work The History of Mankind. For preparing the bow and arrow, which process are analyzed, that is used by Ratchell. Then Grabner, who was the museum curator in Germany, he said about the culture circle and culture strata in Oceania and Africa. In his famous book Method or Ethnology in 1911, he explained about various cultures, that is Tasmanian culture, then Australian boomerang culture, toteming hunter culture, then two-class horticulturist culture, Melanesian bow culture, Polynesian patrilineal culture. First, he used the Tasmanian culture, then boomerang, Australian boomerang culture, then toteming hunter culture, who are the hunters, then horticulture, who are practiced the horticulture, then Melanesian bow culture, bow ଯେଉଁମାନେ ତିଆରି କରୁଥିଲେ, then Polynesian patrilineal culture. Polynesian means various groups. Patrilineal means father is the authority and head of the family. Then next is Smith said there are various circles are used for cultural diffusion. First is primitive culture circle, then primary culture circle, then secondary culture circle, then tertiary. Primitive is the ancient culture, then primary. Primary means direct contact with the culture, that is primary culture. Then by reading from the materials books, that is called secondary culture. Then tertiary culture, mm, suppose one author was analyzed his data in a book, then we extract the data from his book, that is the tertiary culture circle is knows about the diffusionism. Then German diffusionists are criticized by different bands. German diffusionists are criticized by different authors. The methodology did not, in these ways, they are criticized. First point is the methodology did not take into account of dynamics of culture change. First is the methodology which is used in diffusionism, that is not counted the dynamics of culture change. ସେଠି culture change ଟାକୁ କାଉଣ୍ଟ କରାଯାଉନି, କେବଳ culture କେମିତି spread ହେଲା କାଉଣ୍ଟ କରାଯାଉଛି. So ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ କ୍ରିଟିସାଇଜ ହୋଇଛନ୍ତି. Then next point is diffusionist school also relied heavily on the museum methodologies. The main component of this school are thus typology of culture traits. They are not described about the typology, means various types of culture. They are not described about the various types of culture. Next is American School of Diffusion. Diffusion माने आमे बुझिबा कल्चर केमिति स्प्रेड करूची, कल्चर केमिति टोटल वर्ल्ड रे स्प्रेड कला, को वे रे से माने ताकर आइडिया दैछन्ती विभिन्न ऑथर माने. देन अमेरिकन डिफ्यूजनिस्ट. American diffusionists said that the spread of diffusion in different ways. They were different authors. First is Franz Boas, then second is Clark Whistler, then L. Kroeber, etc. The culture area approach was a significant part of this school. They give the importance on culture area. Americans diffusionists give the importance on culture area. What is the particular culture area approach is important in the American diffusion. Culture area is suppose the tribal groups of North America and also the tribal groups of South America. So the diffusion of culture traits and complexes. In particular area, say area re culture केमती spread करिछ, that is the diffusion of culture and diffusion of culture traits and complexes. Simple culture ru केमती complexity culture different culture adapt करिछन्ती सेटा को सेमाने लिखिछन्ती. Then next, by the view of Clark Whistler, the age area hypothesis is counted for American diffusion. Then next is the culture trait and culture complex is also known as cattle complex of East Africa. Cattle complex of East Africa is the example of culture trait and culture complex. Then School of Historical Particularism. Then School of Historical Particularism. The founder of the historical particularism is Franz Boas. Historical particularism Franz Boas ଲେଖିଥିଲେ ବା idea ଦେଇଥିଲେ. He was the notion He was of the notion that the theories of all societies as a part of one single human culture. He said that all societies as a part of one single human culture evolving towards a cultural pinnacle were flawed, especially those that promoted in Western model of civilization as the apex of cultural achievement. Suppose the example of Western society or Western culture shows the cultural achievement. From single culture, the culture from the ancient history or ancient culture, the single culture was started. First, simple culture was started. Then it gradually developed towards the complex culture. Suppose in our tribal society, ଆମର ଆଦିବାସୀ ସମାଜରେ ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଗଣ ସେମାନଙ୍କର ହେଲା simple way of life, simple life pattern. ତେଣୁ ସେମାନଙ୍କ tribal culture ଟା ହେଲା simple culture. But Western culture is the complex culture or urban culture is the complex culture. କେତେଟା culture କୁ ମିଶିକି କେତେ ଜଣ କେତେ various people of various religion were lived together. Suppose ଆମର urban culture ରେ କେତେ religion ର people ବାସ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ସେମାନଙ୍କ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର dress pattern, food habits ସବୁ ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା different. So the urban culture is the complex culture. So Franz Boas said that a single culture was changed towards the complex culture. From historical particularism, culture was started. Then it emphasized the reconstruction of each individual. So Boas' theory was carried forward and developed by his contemporary scholars, that is, contemporary scholars were L. Kroeber, Ruth Benedict, R. H. Lowy, Edward Sapir, etc. Then the criticism of historical particularism is the ethnographer stated that the huge amount of data collected is difficult for a investigator. But in the historical particularism, huge amount of data were collected. ମାନେ historical particularism ରେ ବହୁତ ଡାଟା ଦରକାର, ଆମେ କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ ଜାଣିବା, କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ କଲଚରଟାକୁ, ତେଣୁ that is the different for knowing the historical particularism. And upcoming generations of anthropologists were more interested in studying the cultural processes of the present rather than the past. କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମର ନ୍ୟୁ ଜେନେରେସନାଲ ଆନ୍ଥ୍ରୋପୋଲୋଜିଷ୍ଟ ମାନେ ମୋଷ୍ଟଲି ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟେଡ ଫର ଦ ପାଷ୍ଟ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ ପାଷ୍ଟ ଥିଙ୍ଗ ଷ୍ଟଡି କରିବା ପାଇଁ ବେଶୀ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ହଉଛନ୍ତି। ତେଣୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ କଲଚର କମ୍ପ୍ଲେକ୍ସ ପଢିବା ସେଟା ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟଡି ହେଇଯାଉଛି। ସୋ ଏଇ ଦିଟା ମ୍ୟାଟରରେ ବୋଆ କ୍ରିଟିସାଇଜ ପାଇଛନ୍ତି ବା କ୍ରିଟିସାଇଜ ହୋଇଛନ୍ତି ଅନ୍ୟ ଅଥର ମାନଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୱାରା। Then this chapter is finished. Any doubt? Any doubt? Soumya, Sharmishta,
No,
any
ma'am.
doubt?
No, ma'am.
So we proceed for unit 2.
Yes.
Yes.
We will proceed for unit 2.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, okay. Then unit 2 is functionalism, structural functionalism and neo-functionalism. Unit 2, covers first is functionalism, then structural functionalism, then new functionalism. First is first we study about the functionalism. Literally, the word function means function word comes from the Latin word fungi or functito or to effect or perform or execute means to perform or to serve for a purpose. Function means for a definite purpose. People works for a definite purpose. Then in the view of Plato in 428 before Christ, then in the view of Aristotle in 384 before Christ, the concept of purpose or end it goes back to Aristotle's reference. First function was used by Aristotle's reference. Then from positivism to functionalism. First ଆମର positivism theory ଥିଲା, ତାପରେ next functionalism create ହେଲା. The functionalism lies in the philosophy of positivism. First, Auguste Comte was the social thinker of positivism. Comte, who had postulated positivism, also makes use of analogy of society as an organism. Means society is used as an organism. ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ବଡିଟା ଆମର ଯେମିତି ଗୋଟେ ଅର୍ଗାନିଜିମର ବଡି ଯେମିତି ଆମର ସୋସାଇଟିଟା ସେମିତି କେତେଟା ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟକୁ ନେଇକି ଆମର ସମାଜଟା ଗଠିତ ହେଉଛି। ଯେମିତି ଆମର ବଡି ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚରଟା ବିଭିନ୍ନ ପ୍ରକାର ପାର୍ଟସକୁ ନେଇକି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଅର୍ଗାନ୍ସକୁ ନେଇକି ତିଆରି ହେଉଛି, ସେମିତି ସୋସାଇଟି ବିଭିନ୍ନ ପାର୍ଟସକୁ ନେଇକି ଆଉ କଲଚରକୁ ନେଇକି ତିଆରି ହେଉଛି। ସୋସାଇଟିର ପାର୍ଟସ କ'ଣ ନା ମ୍ୟାରେଜ, ଫ୍ୟାମିଲି, କିନସିପ୍, ରିଲିଜିଅନ, ଇକୋନୋମିକ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚର, ଦେନ୍ ପଲିଟିକ୍ସ etc. In the view of Durkheim, we should understand that a social phenomena, the efficient cause which produces it, and the function it fulfills. First, the social phenomena is produced in the society, and the function it fulfills. The first component of sociological explanation is causal historical explanation. Then the historical sources rather than the indulging powers, then Radcliffe Brown calls conjectural history. Radcliffe Brown said positivism as conjectural history means history history which is associated with conjecture. Conjecture means those causal historical explanation, cause which associated with history. Suppose historyଟା ଆମର ଇତିହାସଟା କିଛି ଗୋଟେ କାରଣ ସହିତ ରିଲେଟେଡ୍, that is conjectural history. The second is functional. ତାପରେ ଆମର ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିରୁ ହିଁ ଫଙ୍କସନଟା କ୍ରିଏଟ୍ ହେଇଛି. So functionalism is created from positivism to functions. Then next is the premises of functionalism. Durkheim is not a functionalist but a British social anthropologists. Then Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski were the pioneers of functionalism. First, Malinowski was the founder of functionalism. ଫଙ୍କସନାଲିଜିମ୍ ଥିଓରିର ଫାଉଣ୍ଡର ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ମାଲିନୋସ୍କି। ଡୁର୍ଖେଇମ୍ ଡୁର୍ଖେଇମ୍ does not use the term functionalism. ଡୁର୍ଖେଇମ୍ ଫଙ୍କସନାଲିଜିମ୍ଟାକୁ ୟୁଜ୍ କରିନଥିଲେ। ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଏଇଟା ମାଲିନୋସ୍କିଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୱାରା ୟୁଜ୍ ହେଲା। ମାଲିନୋସ୍କି କାହା ଉପରେ ଫିଲ୍ଡ ୱାର୍କ କରିଥିଲେ ଆମେ ସେଇଟା ଦେଖିବା। ଫାଷ୍ଟ ମାଲିନୋସ୍କି ଷ୍ଟଡିଡ୍ about the Argonauts of the Western Pacific and Radcliffe Brown do his field work on the Andaman Islanders. Then the anthropological functionalism was held in other disciplines also. Then functionalism in social anthropology. In social anthropology, functionalism was started from 19th century. Functionalists are used that the what society was to or what society is. How society functions. Then the Radcliffe Brown's structural functional approach. Functionalism କେବଳ ମାଲିନୋସ୍କି କହିଛନ୍ତି, but structural functionalism Radcliffe Brown କହିଛନ୍ତି। Radcliffe Brown in 1952 defines each society as a functionally interrelated system. He said that Radcliffe Brown said that society as a functionally interrelated system. Society structurally arrange होची according to their parts and functionally interrelated system. Function करूची गोटे interrelated. जेमती हमरा body organism गोटे organism रो body structure organism ती depend करूची अन्य organ उपरे, सेमती society depend करूची interrelated system उपरे, which based upon the general laws or functions. Then Radcliffe Brown disliked the use of the word functionalism. ଯେତେବେଳେ Radcliffe Brown structural functionalism यूज कले से ମାଲିନୋସ୍କିଙ୍କର functionalism ଟାକୁ reject କରିଦେଲେ ବା dislike କଲେ। Then Radcliffe Brown also looks at the distinction between an organism and society. Radcliffe Brown give his idea on the difference of organism and society. Radcliffe Brown's structural functional approach is based on three facts. First is a necessary condition for survival of a society is a minimal integration of its parts. First, a necessary condition, but a certain or necessary condition darkar for the survival of the society. Then next is the concept of function refers to those processes that maintain the necessary integration or solidarity. The concept of function refers to the process. Function means some processes which are maintained in the necessary conditions or necessary situations. In each society, structural features can be shown to contribute to the maintenance of necessary solidarity. Necessary solidarity or superficial condition ପାଇଁ এটা structural part or structural functionalism use କରାଯାଏ। Then functionalism of Malinowski. Functionalism of Malinowski is also called as functional school of thought. Malinowski's approach is based on basic or biological needs. Biological or basic needs means the food, cloth, shelter. Excuse me, sorry. Malinowski's approach is based on biological or basic needs, and that is food, cloth, shelter. Without food, clothes, shelter, a human being or individual cannot survive. Then, function mainly depends upon the basic or biological needs. Then, first, see, Malinowski used three concepts. First is biological, then social, structural, then the symbolic. First is biological, means basic thing, then social structural and societal thing, and the symbolic. Symbolic means communication or languages. Symbolic means language structure. Then Malinowski say that human being is unique, for it is not found to exist among subhumans. Culture, the functionalism of culture is only exist among the human being, not it found among the subhumans. So the material and non-material beings are used by the human beings. Malinowski's idea of functionalism, also called bicultural functionalism, because Malinowski used the basic or biological needs and also used the cultural needs. So that is called bicultural functionalism. Malinowski used a table of fact that is comprises for a human being in the society for existing the functionalism. Functionalism ଟାକୁ ଦେଖେଇବା ପାଇଁ ବା ଏକ୍ସପ୍ରେସ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ମାଲିନସ୍କି ଗୋଟେ ଟେବୁଲ ୟୁଜ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି. ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇଜ୍ ଟେବୁଲ 1 impulse, then first category is impulse, then next category act, then satisfaction. First serial number impulse is drive to breathe and gasping for air. ମାନେ ଆମେ ନିଶ୍ୱାସ ନଉଛେ for intake of oxygen by the help of oxygen. Then elimination of CO2 in tissues. ତାପରେ ଆମେ carbon dioxide କୁ ଛାଡୁଛେ. Then hunger. Hunger is the ingestion of food. Due to the hunger ଆମେ food ଟାକୁ ନଉଛେ ବା consume କରୁଛେ. Then satisfaction, ତାପରେ sorry satiation, satisfaction ସେଟା. And then thirst, for absorption of liquid, ଆମେ ଯେହେତୁ ଶୋଷ ଲାଗିବା ଯୋଗୁ liquid ନଉଛେ. Then quenching. Then sex, appetite, conjugation, then determinants means mentally quality. Then fatigue, suppose tiredness. Fatigue means tiredness. Due to tiredness, rest. Then restoration of muscular and nervous energy. এটা nervous energy and restoration করছে muscular energy. Then restlessness activity. Then satisfaction of fatigue. These are the points of table 1. Then table 2 is important for the functionalism of Malinowski. First is basic need, then cultural need or cultural responses. Metabolism, commissariat, reproduction means kinship. Metabolism means bodily activities. That is commissariat. Culture point is commissariat. Reproduction means kinship. Suppose by the family, our new generation creates, and mm, the kinship creates. Then due to the bodily comfort, shelter is used. For safety, protection is used. For movement, activities is used. For growth, training is used. Then for the health condition, hygienic point is used. Then in the functionalism theory of Malinowski, there are various systems, religious system, magic system, belief system are used. Then functionalism of Talcott person and R.K. Morton. In 1975, Robert Morton and arc he was the arc functionalist. He also explains here why he was abandoned the term structural functionalism. First, he did not use the structural functionalism. In the empirical sense, one thing I am left that functionalism is based on the real observation or real fieldwork of Malinowski. Point down. Uh, excuse me. Then Archimedes functionalism is based on stability. Stability means constantness with respect to the changing process. Structure is based on stability, means constant. Then structural functionalism has been used for structure is more than process. Then persons Talcott person states that concept of function stands at a higher level of theoretical generality. That the concept of function is concerned with the consequences of the existence and the nature of structure that can empirically describe. Consequences means impact. Nature of function it depend upon the consequences. One means result. Persons think that the original formulation under the structural functionalism tends to analyze society as if it is static, but the new formula applied that the concept of function than structure. In the new sense, he used function. First, he used the structure. Then, in the new idea, he used that function is more important than structure. Then person's functionalism is best known in terms of functional imperatives. Person's functionalism is bestly known for the word functional imperatives. Imperative means the essential conditions required for the enduring existence of a system. The essential or necessary condition is required. ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦିଷ୍ଟ condition ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦିଷ୍ଟ ସର୍ତ୍ତ ଆମର ଦରକାର କେବଳ ସିଷ୍ଟମଟାକୁ ଏକ୍ଜିଷ୍ଟ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ମିନ୍ସ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରକ୍ଚରଟାକୁ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁ କରିବା ପାଇଁ. So, Talcott person used a model which is based on different action systems, that is goal attainment, that is adaptation, then goal attainment, then integration, then pattern maintenance and tension management. Adaptation means each society needs certain institutions that perform the function of adaptation to the environment. Each society needs certain institutions. प्रति समाज किछिटा इंस्टीट्यूशन बा ग्रुप दरकार करे बा नीड करिथाए फॉर द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ adaptation to the environment. ଏନଭାଇରନମେଣ୍ଟ ଆମର ପରିପାର୍ଶ୍ୱ ସହିତ ଆଡାପ୍ଟ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ହେଲେ କିଛିଟା ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦିଷ୍ଟ କଣ୍ଡିସନ ଦରକାର ସୋସାଇଟିର. ଦେନ୍ ଗୋଲ ଆଟେନମେଣ୍ଟ. In the goal attainment, the function is concerned with the need of the system to mobilize its resources to attain the goals and to establish priorities among them. It mobilizes motivations of the actors. Motivation for the it mobilization of motivations means structural functionalism creates the motivations for the goal attainment and for decision making. Then integration. Integration is most important for structural functionalism. Integration means एकाग्रता जोटा है कि हमारा functionalism the important part. The heart of the core function is integration. Then pattern maintenance or tension management. Knowledge and information to the system is the pattern maintenance. In general theory, culture is the repository knowledge. Culture is based on the repository knowledge and information means accomplishes this function. Knowledge reposite हुए transfer हुए deposit then transfer हुए then accomplish this function then function टा create कराए. In the diagram 1 AGIL model. AGIL model means adaptation, G रे goal attainment, I रे integration, L रे latency, that is the instrumental and consummatory. Instrumental means in external, that is adaptation and goal attainment, but in the internal, that is latency and integration. These are the internal parts and adaptation goal attainment is the external parts. Then the subsystems are arranged in the functional theory of person. AGIL model is the ideal type in the structural functionalism theory. Then critical evaluation. Critical evaluation କୋଉମାନେ criticize କରିଛନ୍ତି for which reason? Now we will study about them. The functionalism is criticized for structural functional approach, for structural functionalism, for functional approach. First, they are criticized for this reason that functionalism is used in different names. That is functional approach, structural functionalism, functional school. So these are the different terms are um, used in different sense, different senses. So, for example, Talcott person is well known for his contribution to family sociology. The school as a social system and medical institution, profession, problem of the blacks, then evolutionism, etc. Then in 1930 and 1960, functional approach was virtually unchallenged in the United States of America. Functional approach was virtually unchallenged means ସେମାନେ ଚ୍ୟାଲେଞ୍ଜ କରିପାରିଲେନି ମାନେ କ୍ରିଟିସିଜିମ୍ ଉପରେ ଚ୍ୟାଲେଞ୍ଜ କରିକି ନ୍ୟୁ ଆଇଡିଆ ଦେଇପାରିଲେନି so they are criticized by the social anthropologist British social anthropologist. There's Evans Pritchard and Radcliffe Brown, Edmund Leach, Levi Strauss, etc. Then another criticism of functionalism is functionalists have overemphasized on harmonious relationships. They tend to the facts that consensus, stability, equilibrium, and integration, etc. And the disregarding the forces of conflict, disorder, means consensus, means conscience, ଯୋଉଟା କୁହାଯାଏ then stability ମାନେ ସ୍ଥିରତା ଇକ୍ୱିଲିବ୍ରିୟମ୍ ମାନେ ସମାନତା ଇଣ୍ଟିଗ୍ରେସନ୍ ଏକାଗ୍ରତା ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ସବୁ ଫଙ୍କସନାଲିଜିମ୍ ଫଙ୍କସନାଲିଜିମ୍ରେ ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ନାହିଁ ତ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ କ୍ରିଟିସାଇଜ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି. Then the thesis of functionalism or neo-functionalism, sorry, the neo-functionalism or neo-structure of functionalism. Neo-functionalism is arised by Niklas Luhmann and Jürgen Habermas in modern society. Persons placed emphasis on value consensus, also believing that because the social system penetrates the personality system, persons placed emphasis on value consensus. ତାପରେ person consensus ଉପରେ importance ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି and believe କରିଛନ୍ତି the social system penetrates the personality system. social system ଟା force करे personality system. Personality means one's own activity or attitude. That is personality. Social system, personality system is existed in the social system or also seen in the society. So Luhmann think that mm, that is not simply correct. He moves that individual out of the social system in the society, what may be termed the societal environment, which is far more complex and less restrictive, which is far more complex and less restrictive. Restriction କିଛି ନାହିଁ, so this is very complex. Luhmann କହିଛନ୍ତି. Then neo-functionalism ରେ problems କ'ଣ problems ସବୁ arise କଲା. Anti-individualism, then antagonism to change, conservatism, idealism, anti-empiricist bias. The individual in structural functionalism is passive and lacks creativity and is simply a product of the social forces, which he neither checks nor controls. Individualism ନଥିଲେ particular structure ବା particular culture ନଥିଲେ it will be spread. ଏଇଟା ତ spread କରିଯିବ, ତେଣୁ study କେମିତି ହେଇପାରିବନି more complex system ରେ. So neo functionalism is based on the problem anti-visualism. Then antagonism to change. Structural functionalism is a theory of social order rather than of change. Change kichi honi structural functionalism. It only be continued in a static structure. जोटा started ହେଇଥିବ ଯୋଉ structure ରୁ the origin ରୁ ସେଇଟା ହିଁ continue କରୁଛି. Then conservatism. Structural functionalism is based on the conservatism, means reserve, justifying inequality, practices, exploitation, etc. Then idealism. Structural functionalism speaks in terms of an ideal society where everything is in order and stability. जोटा only ideal society रे ही देखा जाए in the specific order or stability sense or stable sense रे. Anti-empiricist bias. The empiricist means empiricist is based on empirical observation. Empirical observation means real observation. Real observation is real observation is seen in empirical sense, but in neo-functionalism, the anti-empirical sense is used. Real observation is not occurred in the neo-functionalism. So it is difficult, the problems arise. Real observation is necessary for a field work or study. Then merits and demerits of neo-functionalism. Functionalism is characterized by the propositions an open and pluralistic description of society as a whole. It is functionalism is open and pluralistic, means many societies are existed in a particular culture or particular sense. Then an even-handed appointment when it comes to action versus structure. Even-handed appointment when it comes action versus structure or action versus order. ଯେତେବେଳେ action versus structure ଥାଏ an even-handed appointment ଏଇଟା ଦେଖାଯାଇଥାଏ. Then integration is viewed as a possibility. Integration is viewed in a possibility means possible এটা integration ଟା possible ହୁଏ means ଏକାଗ୍ରତା ଟା ଦେଖାଯାଏ। then discernment between personality, culture, society. Personality ଆଉ culture and society ଭିତରେ କୌଣସି means interrelated ନଥାଏ। ଏଇଟା ହେଲା sorry disadvantages. 4, 5, 6 is the disadvantages. Then post positivism submits that the empirical observations post positivism, the empirical observation means real observation or real data, face to face contact relationship is observed in the empirical observation. Then second unit is finished. Any doubt? Any doubt, Sarmishta, Soumya, or others? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then you read the materials. When the doubts are arised, you will ask me in the next class.
Again.
Then ତାପରେ ଆମେ ୟୁନିଟ୍ 3 କୁ ଯିବା। The important question, sorry, the important question is um, write about the theories of functionalism and discuss about the theories of evolutionism and discuss about the theories of diffusionism. Evolutionism is very important, then diffusionism is also important. Then functionalism, um, functionalism, neo-functionalism is less important, but evolutionism and diffusionism is very important. Then we'll proceed for Unit 3. Unit 3 is social organization and dynamic theories of structure. Social organization is related to social structure. Dynamic theories of structure is based on the Radcliffe Brown's contribution, then G.P. Murdoch's view on social structure. Social structure is a model that is the view of Levi-Strauss, then Edmund Leach, then Raymond Forth, S.F. Nadel, Emile Durkheim, Talcott Person, etc. Social organization and dynamic theories of structure is based on the mm, word structure. The term structure is comes from the word Latin term that is structura or sture means to construct. Structuralism or structure means to construct. I mean जोटा arrange करिवा that is structure that is used in 19th century. The term structure is based on three facts. First is the way in which something is organized, built, or put together. That is the structure of the human body. Structure means something organized. ମାନେ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକୁ ଏକାଠି କରିବା, then built or put together, built ତିଆରି କରିବା, put together ଏକାଠି କରିବା. Second point is a particular system, pattern, procedure or institution, means structure is based on the particular system, pattern, procedure or institution, means class structure, salary structure or caste structure. Caste structure is based on four varna system in our Hindu society. For example, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they are the caste, that is the caste structure. And third point is a thing made of several parts put together in a particular way. Several parts put together. ekati hoichandi in a particular way. For, for a particular specific goal, they are, they are put together or parts are put together. Single story structure. Many cultures are integrated towards a single story structure. That is the structural theory or social organization. In social anthropology, the term structure is based on interconnectedness of parts. That is, the parts of a society are not isolated entities, but are brought together in a set of relationships. Interconnectedness means the set of relationships exist in the society. Like a organism, a society is works by various cultures or various parts or various things. Then social organization and social structure. Social organization has to be used to refer to the sum total of activities performed in a given social context. In a particular social situation रे कौन हुए, sum total of activities performed. Particular situation रे sum total of activities, ସବୁ କିଛି activities ଟା ଏକାଠି ହୋଇଥାଏ. It will be understood in that sense that social organization, which defines the roles of individuals play in relation to one another. In society, the role is counted for designating the relation from one person to another person or one to another, and it is mainly concerned with social action, whereas social structure defines the statuses of actors. While organization leads to the total of activities in a social context, but structure defines the status or roles of actors. Then Herbert Spencer used the term function for the analytical study of society. For the social organization and social structure, Herbert Spencer used a single term, that is function. Human society and function is used for designating the human society and biological organism. He also believed that the interrelated parts of a machine function to keep the machine. Then Parsons' view that social organization and social structure person କଣ କହିଛନ୍ତି ତାଙ୍କ view ରେ in 1951 he said that social organization and social structure was essentially the same as that of Radcliffe Brown. Radcliffe Brown ଯାହା କହିଛନ୍ତି social organization ଆଉ social structure ଉପରେ person ମଧ୍ୟ ସେୟା କହିଛନ୍ତି ସେଇ same thing that is repeated. Then Murdoch's view in 1949 was analyzed in social structure that one which bears little relation to the more precise formulations of other theories. Structure means one little relations to the more precise formulations. One little relation exists in the society, which is the closer to social organization. Social structure is also closest to social organization. Then Raymond Forth in 1951 said that social structure is of greater interest to those whose approaches are descended from classic structural functionalist and structuralist traditions. Means social structure is of greater interest to those whose approaches are descended. Social structure social structure ମାନେ ହେଲା greater interest who approaches the descended from classical things. Interest କୋଉଠୁ ଆସୁଛି ଆମର classical structural functionalist or structuralist traditions ମାନେ tradition ର ଆମର interest ଟା ଆସୁଛି. Then the dynamic theories of structure. Dynamic theories of structure is written by Radcliffe Brown. Then G.P. Murdoch. Then Levi-Strauss. Then S.F. Nadel. Then Edmund Leach. Then Raymond Forth and Meyer Fortes. Then Evans Pritchard, Talcott Person, Emile Durkheim. Next, Rodney Needham. First is Radcliffe Brown. Radcliffe Brown said that Radcliffe Brown is the chief pioneer of British school of structuralism. Structuralism ର pioneer ହେଉଛନ୍ତି Radcliffe Brown. ସେ social structure ଉପରେ କ'ଣ କହିଛନ୍ତି that he called the structural functional approach the social he believes that or he said that se କହିଛନ୍ତି social phenomena are investigated by methods similar to those used in natural and biological sciences makes an important distinction between an individual and a person. Social phenomena are investigated by methods. Social phenomena ta means social situation ta investigate କରାଯାଏ by the methods. Some methods କିଛି ଧାରା ଦ୍ୱାରା ବା କିଛି process ରେ ସେଟା investigate କରାଯାଏ to those used in natural or biological sciences. जोटा कि natural science ରେ use କରାଯାଏ और biological science ରେ भी use କରାଯାଏ. Makes an important distinction between individual and a person. Individual is a biological organism. As a person, the human being is a complex social relationships. Then Radcliffe Brown The Radcliffe Brown uses the term social personality for the position a human being occupies in a social structure. Radcliffe Brown uses the term social personality for the position. ଆମର ଗୋଟେ social personality ଥାଏ position for the position ପାଇଁ in the society. Radcliffe Brown used that term. Then Radcliffe Brown said about the dynamic continuity of social structure. Then G.P. Murdoch's view on social structure. G.P. Murdoch, another American anthropologist, said the pure functionalism, that is synchronic and diachronic. Synchronic means his book is based on the social structure which is emphasized the cross cultural comparisons. Synchronic means cross cultural comparisons, means comparison among the various cultures. Then social structure is a model by Lévi-Strauss. Lévi-Strauss is the French structuralist who is famous for the kinship system, cross-cultural analysis of kinship system. Levi-Strauss believes that structure of society is but a surface manifestation of fundamental mental processes. It for functionalism, society is a kind of living creature consisting of parts. Society is like a living creature. Like our body, society is a living creature in which place other cultures or other aspects, other traits are analyzed in the society, and that is also called the social structure. Social structure means various structure, actual structure, then partial structure, etc. Structure is based on the language structure, family structure, etc. Then structural functionalism by Nadel. Nadel said that Nadel said that the social reality is the important fact of structural functionalism. Social reality or in society the real interpersonal relationship society रे relation ଦେଖାଯାଏ interpersonal relationship from one to another person, that is the social reality. Then Edmund Leach on social structure. Sorry, 1 minute. Then Edmund Leach and social structure. Edmund Leach disliked the synchronic functionalism, means cross cross cultural functionalism. Levi-Strauss and Leach modified the ideas of Radcliffe Brown. Then Leach applies the method of structuralism to understand the local or regional structures. Then functionalism became dynamic and diachronic. Dynamic is also changing and diachronic. Diachronic, it is different in the various periods of time. In different periods of time. Then Raymond Forth on social structure. Raymond Forth writes in his book Elements of Social Organization in 1951 that the difference between social structure and social organization is based on the group relations or of ideal patterns. Group relation and ideal pattern. Then Meyer Fortes in his book The Structure of Unilineal Descent Groups. His analysis is based on the lineage organization has come mainly from Radcliffe Brown's formulation of the structural principles. Lineage organization. Lineage means the family, then many families are created, many clans are integrated together and form the lineage. From the lineage, from the lineage organization has come mainly from Radcliffe Brown's formulation. According to Cortes, the social structure should be thought in terms of the levels of organization. Firstly, Cortes said social structure is mainly based on the levels of organization. There are various organizations, economic organization, political organization, educational organization, etc. Then Evans Pritchard view on social structure. Evans Pritchard described his described his book on Newer Society in 1940 that social structure is based on the groups and social structure deals with units which is largely invariant means variation of groups and the structural form is what Evans Pritchard used by social structure. The structural groups are used among the newer society. In the newer society, there are various territorial groups, lineages, age sets, lineage groups, territorial groups, etc. Then Talcott Parsons' social structures. Talcott Parson said that all the units of social structure, that is, institutions, agencies, social patterns, status, and roles, are invisible and intangible. Social structure is based on institutions, agencies, social patterns, status, and roles. Social structure is based on institutions. Institutions means anywhere we go, that is called institution. Suppose educational institution, then educational institution, then agencies, then social patterns, status and role, various statuses in the society, then roles, in the society, behaviors in the society, economic institution. These are the important facts of social structure. Then Emile Durkheim and social structure. Emile Durkheim, in his book Division of Labor and Rules of Sociological Method, he analyzed that society is like an organism, makes the body alive through fulfillment of essential needs. Like the body, or like the organism fulfills our bodily activities, which is the basic, fulfills the basic needs like uh, eating habits or drinking. These are the main habits. Like the organism, society also fulfills the needs. So society fulfill the needs. First, family is the basic institution, fulfills the wants or needs in the society. That is analyzed by Emile Durkheim. Then Rodney Needham. Rodney Needham was another author. He said about the social structure. He said structuralism is provided in a new interpretation of kinship systems. Structuralism is based on the kinship system and bedrock of social structure. Bedrock means base, base of social structure in small scale societies. First, structuralism is extracted from the small scale societies. For example, which he emphasized the alliance theory through marriage. Marriage is the small small view, or marriage is the smallest trait of society, and lineage, descent, they are the smallest traits of society, and it is analyzed in social structure. Then in 1969, Levi-Strauss attacked the Needham's interpretation. 1969 ରେ Levi-Strauss criticize କରିଛନ୍ତି Needhamକୁ. କ'ଣ କହିଛନ୍ତି? Then in the book Elementary Structures of Kinship, he said that the systems of classifications in the society, kinship theory, systems of classification means descriptive system, then classificatory system. Then structure and sentiment is the important point of the social structure. Then he mentioned in the book structure and sentiment is are the important two factors of social structure. He analyzed that view in the book Elementary Structures of Kinship. Then Levi-Strauss analyzed structuralism is based on the thinking pattern and important for the ideas. Then primary factors is important, and it is found all over the world. Then Radcliffe-Brown's type of structuralism is very important, and the important question of this chapter is important questions are write about the Radcliffe-Brown's contribution about social structure, then comparison, write the comparison between structuralism and structural functionalism, and write about the dynamic theories of structure in different views, means different authors. According to different authors' view, you write down the dynamic theories of structure. Then mm, discuss about the relation between social organization and social structure with examples. Any doubts you can ask me in the next class. So thank you.